This episode felt a lot more like the old New Who. Hey, I'm Amy and welcome back. I'm going to be talking about Season 11, Episode 5 of Doctor Who, the Tsuranga Conundrum. If I'm saying that right, it feels like a tongue twister. But this episode felt like a very standard Monster of the Week episode that we would have gotten with Tennant, Smith, or even Capaldi. It was very, normal, and it didn't feel like any of these monsters, like whatever was going to be happening in this episode was going to come back later. Like I have said in a lot of previous reviews, a lot of the bad guys feel like they're going to be coming back for the finale or somewhere around there because they just don't have really proper endings. But before I get into kind of a synopsis of this episode, I want to talk a little bit about last week's episode. What happened in last week's episode? It was basically just another Monster of the Week one-off episode about spiders. It did feel like a little slightly American politics charged episode because there was a very Trump-like character in there who maybe just disappeared a little bit at the end, which gave me kind of a reason to believe that he might be coming back for the next, or for this season finale, just like Tim Shaw and Krasko, the villain in the Rosa Parks episode, might be coming back for something bigger happening towards the end of this season. And most importantly, the entire episode, they are back in Sheffield in present day, but it was also when the companions really decided that they were going to join the Doctor on her adventures. So in this episode, the companions are officially with the Doctor and they're not being accidentally drugged anywhere. But for a brief synopsis and my thoughts on this episode, the Doctor and the companions are looking for some parts on a junk planet in a junk galaxy when they get knocked out by a sonic mine and end up on a medic ship going to a planet, I believe, or some place where they will be able to be healed more fully. While they are on that ship, though, it gets attacked by a power-hungry, literally, alien. Initial thoughts on this? It was a pretty interesting episode. I wouldn't say it's my least favorite, but I wouldn't say it's also my favorite episode so far. It is kind of just a neutral, in the middle, very Monster of the Week, one-off, just episode that you would see in Doctor Who normally. Nothing super special about it. But from this point on, remember, as always, there will be
spoilers? What spoilers?
Now we are on the spoiler side of this review. Something I noticed in this is a little throughout the season kind of, maybe it's an inside joke or it's something that's going to just be happening, is the Doctor losing the TARDIS all the time. She somehow gets taken away from it, it disappears. Like every other episode I feel like she has lost the TARDIS, so maybe that's going to be a little funny joke that plays throughout the entire thing. But if they overuse it too much, I feel like it's just going to get a little annoying. Who knows what they are really planning, because I think we're almost halfway through this season. I think we maybe have a couple more episodes left. If it's overused, if they keep doing it, it's going to be a little bit annoying. But at the same time, it's kind of funny that she just keeps losing it. She's a little scatterbrained as she's still trying to integrate herself into her new body and all of that. Who knows what's going to happen with that. And to me, there wasn't a whole lot going on in this episode. I mean, it's a really fun, really interesting episode with some fun concepts, but not a whole lot of consequence happened throughout this episode. It was mostly just the Doctor dealing with another alien, and it was an alien that she didn't know what to do with. The concept of the alien who is just, he's there to eat power, is nothing new. We've seen that before in other episodes of Doctor Who, other TV shows, but the way they handled it was still pretty fun, pretty interesting, with the Doctor taking the bomb out of the ship to feed and kind of satiate this creature, then get it off of the ship. It was a fun and interesting kind of thing. They also played into one of my favorite horror sci-fi franchises with Alien. Ronan, the droid that is the kind of helper for the general who is there because she is sick. Ronan feels very much like one of the droids or one of the robots on any of the ships in Alien that seems okay at first, but nobody really trusts them. And they act a little bit sketchy, but in the end, they're a good guy. I kind of liked that little trope that they threw in there. It's a little hidden, not necessarily hidden under the surface, but it was a kind of really great nod to an amazing sci-fi horror franchise that I absolutely love. This episode, though, also gave us a really great look, just like in the spider episode last week, with looking more into Yaz's past. This episode, we got to look a lot more into Ryan's past, his relationship with his dad, and him using that past with his dad to help Yas, the man on the ship who is pregnant, decide to keep his baby because he wasn't wanting it in the beginning. Again, something we have seen a lot of times before, but the way Ryan used his experience with his dad to tell Yas that all he just needs to be is to be there to be a good father. He doesn't necessarily have to know how to work his stove or know what he is doing. As long as he is there for his son, he is going to be a good dad. Unlike Ryan's dad, who was never there for him after Ryan's mother passed away, and even after Ryan's nan and Ryan's dad's mom passed away, after Claire passed away, he wasn't even there for Ryan. He didn't even go to the funeral, and he left Ryan a note in the last episode saying that he can come live with him, but, Ryan obviously didn't take him up on that offer. We also get a deeper look into how Ryan's mom died, which is a very heartbreaking story, especially considering Ryan is the one that found her like that. So maybe we'll kind of get a little bit more deeper into that later on. Maybe we'll even get to meet Ryan's dad. At some points, it did feel a little bit like in the first season, I want to say, when they kind of go to this alternate universe and meet Rose's real dad. Well, meet Rose's dad. And they just kind of go back in time, meet Rose's dad. And then in a alternate universe, they actually get to end up living with him. Rose and her mom do. It felt a little bit like that, so maybe we'll get to see Ryan's dad in an episode or something. I do feel like this was a slightly weird episode with the doctor, though. She did have this injury that is not something we see normally with the doctor a lot. A lot of the times, the doctor gets injured, but to this one, it was nearly incapacitating to her. She could barely move at some points. I liked seeing that. I liked seeing the doctor a little bit vulnerable, but at the same time, about halfway through the episode, it kind of just goes away. The doctor will clutch her side, but at the same time, it just kind of goes away. I know that's like her spleen or whatever organ it was healing, but they don't really touch back on it. I just felt like it kind of dropped off a little bit there. But I do like seeing the doctor more vulnerable, because usually we just picture them as this just strong, unmoving, I don't know what other adjectives to put there, as this just super strong force to be reckoned with, and they can never be injured or hurt or anything. And I keep saying this in most of these reviews, Jodie Whittaker's performance reminds me a lot of David Tennant's performance. Maybe that's just because they worked together on Broadchurch, but I feel like she did pull a lot of her performance from him, especially when she is in the command center with Astos. She gets very angry and aggressive, something that Tin did not a whole lot, but he was very angry a lot of the time, especially after Rose left, angry at the world, and David Tennant showed that anger very well, and I feel like in this one brief moment, Jodie Whittaker really showed that anger. And stemming from that, though, goes into my theory for this episode, at least, for future episodes coming off of this one. To me, it feels like, and I've noticed this throughout the season so far, is some of the writing just feels like it's not quite there. They didn't quite finish it. They didn't quite finish the episode. And with her anger, you don't really understand why she's so angry. She is hurting, she's injured, but at the same time, you don't really feel like they incorporated that very well, because it just comes and then it goes. And with her injury, it comes and then it goes. They don't really focus on her healing, and at the end with the TARDIS, they don't directly go to it. You don't see them going to it, so it feels like they're kind of still lost, or like they're going to continue into the next episode being on the ship or where they're heading to, not necessarily getting onto the TARDIS. Most of the time with Doctor Who, we get this nice sense of closure when they get back onto the TARDIS, especially on Monster of the Week or one-off episodes. They start on the TARDIS, they finish on the TARDIS. You get this kind of nice bookend sense of closure. But with a lot of these episodes with Jodie Whittaker and this new showrunner, I feel like a lot of the writing just hasn't given me any closure. It feels very open-ended. So maybe this is something that's going to play into the finale or later episodes down the road. It's not just me feeling this sense of it's not done. I feel like there is more that we should be talking about in this episode. Similarly to my theories of Tim Shaw and Krasko and whatever the Timeless Child happens to be, coming into the finale or towards the end of this season. I feel like all of that has to do, like, it can't just be there. I feel like Doctor Who is very deliberate, so all of this can't just be happening for a reason. The defeat of Krasko being so easy, and the American politician just kind of walking away at the end of the Arachnids episode last week. I feel like it all has to be coming to a head somewhere down the line, so maybe the open-endedness of each episode is leading to that as well. Fingers crossed that's what it is. And now finally, my favorite moment of the episode also goes with the quote, because I haven't done an episode without doing a quote yet, so I had to do it for my favorite moment. The moment when the Doctor and Mobley are in the control room discussing how to fix their problem. The Doctor says, "You're a medic, I'm the doctor," and Mobley says back, "You're a medical doctor?" And the Doctor has this amazing quote that I feel basically just sums up everything the Doctor's about in every single way possible. She says, "Medicine, science, engineering, candy floss, Legos, philosophy, music, problems, people, hope." Mostly hope. Hope is what the Doctor is about. She is always, well, they have always been about spreading hope, giving hope to people who are hopeless, and just making people better. Everything about the Doctor is making people better. I loved that little quote in there, and I love that little moment where the Doctor is just, we have to give these people hope, and she gives hope to Mobley, and that is kind of Mobley's through line, especially after her commander, Astos, and the only person who really believed in her has been jettisoned off in the escape pod and killed by the Pating. But that is everything I have for this episode of Doctor Who. Let me know your thoughts on this episode in the comments down below. Did you like this? Did you not like it? What are your theories for this episode and this season? Let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really truly do appreciate every single one of you. Let me know who you are in the comments down below, and let's be friends. If you enjoyed this, leave a like and subscribe if you're new, because I love talking all things movies, TV shows, filmmaking, film history, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you next time. Bye!